Last week, a heartbreaking instance of domestic violence here in Oklahoma City. Police officers called to a home in northwest OKC, discovering a mom and her 3 children killed in an apparent murder-suicide. Investigators say the mom's estranged husband shot them before turning the gun on himself. And in studio this morning, we have Oklahoma City Police Chief Wade Gorley to talk more. Thank you so much for being with us.
You bet. Happy to be here.
All right. So again, a heartbreaking situation last week. How's your department doing? How are you responding to all of this?
So, first of all, those officers that responded to that call, that was devastating for them. Anytime, you have something that horrific, especially involving children, the most innocent victims that we have in our community, it's very difficult. And so, of course, our wellness team was out there helping them and making sure they get the resources they need. But then also, too, reaching out to those families through our advocates, the families of the victims, because they're struggling and suffering as well. So it's just a complete tragedy, for everyone involved.
I know your investigators, they're working to piece together what might have led up to that shooting. Any updates that you can share on that investigation right now?
I really don't have anything. There's a lot of things to go through. There was a lot of evidence. They were out there on that scene for quite some time processing, and they'll be looking at times leading up to and what happened prior to that, but then also to the medical examiner. It'll take a while for their reports to come in, and so it's gonna be a little while before we can exactly figure out everything that happened.
Chief, when you got the call and you were told about this incident, what was your reaction?
I get a little frustrated sometimes with these type of events, because as a police department, we are always the ones that seem to be out in front of this. What are you going to do? How are you going to correct this? And there needs to be some legislative changes, and we've tried in the last couple of years. I will tell you, the acting U.S. Attorney for the Western District, Bob Traster, he's helped us a lot with the program that the federal government has in taking federal charges on some of these domestic violence suspects that when there's firearms involved. And we've been trying to work legislation in the state that would take some of those same laws that are applicable in the federal system and apply those in the states, because anytime you have a domestic violence incident where there's a firearm in the home, it's just a matter of time before that escalates. And we see that. I think the last article I read said we were like number 9 in the country, I believe, for domestic violence deaths. I may be wrong on that. It may be higher. But it's one of those things you look at, you get very frustrated, and we have to take action. And most domestic violence offenses right now are still misdemeanors. Mm-hmm. And so, we have to do something when we're up that high in the nation with domestic violence homicides.
Chief, we had a round table last week, and Deputy Chief Jason Clifton, he was here talking about domestic violence and how the police department approaches it here in the city. One of the things that he said that stuck out to me was that this is one of the most complicated crimes because it happens behind doors. So your officers don't have a visual on it. So that makes it very hard on them. Can you, talk more about that, and if you agree with that statement that he made?
Absolutely, and he's exactly right. These instances are occurring in the homes. Oftentimes, the abusers are very good at controlling the victims so that they don't speak out, and keeping them controlled is a real big part of what a domestic abuser does. It's like grooming, so to speak, and keeping them from being around friends and family and those things. And I think what has to happen is, as a community, we've got to step up and realize and learn to recognize what those things are. If you do have, a family member who is now being kept away from their family and friends, that's a red flag. Any visible injuries, things like that can't be explained, should always be looked at. And we just need, as a community, we need to get more involved and report that. And then as a police department, we do a lot to take a holistic approach to domestic violence. And so as police, we investigate the criminal aspect of it, but then through Palomar and YWCA and some of our other resources, not only in Oklahoma County, but Canadian and Cleveland County, we have those victims as sort of a one-stop shop so that they can get legal assistance. And a big thing too that abusers use to control a victim is financial. Mm. And so we make sure that they get connected with resources, because they may not have a job themselves and maybe no insurance without the abusive spouse. And so we work really hard to try and connect them with those resources and make sure pets are taken care of. Sometimes victims won't flee because they don't want to leave their pets, that they can get VPO assistance and all of those things. So that's the approach we try to take to it. But the biggest thing is, I think, is you have to hold these abusers accountable. You have to put them in jail. And I think there's still a stigma in the community too, that if your victim is not cooperating, that you can't prosecute that case. And the statute's very clear on that, but also too, I always say you don't have an uncooperative victim, you have a controlled victim. They don't want to be in this situation. And so we work very hard to try and get those resources and get those cases prosecuted.
Chief, we got some numbers from your department, and 5 intimate partner homicides in 2022, 7 intimate partner homicides in 2023. Studies show that Oklahoma is number 2 on a list of states for the number of women killed by men during domestic violence episodes. You talked about the steps that your department is taking right now, and you're aiming, more legislative side. You're asking for lawmakers to go ahead and make those laws that you all can enforce. What would be your message to them today?
I think it's time to have a serious discussion about the legislation and looking at the big things. I would say is looking at those federal charges that we've been bringing and been very successful at getting domestic abusers put away, and put in prison, and then and applying that at the state level as well. And then also too, there's certain crimes within domestic violence, certain levels that it has to reach to get a felony. But I think it's time to have the discussion that domestic abuse, it ought to be looked at as a felony every time, and we ought to be doing everything we can to discourage it. And I think what a lot of people don't realize too, I'm glad you corrected me, number 2, which is even worse, but I think we have to look at what this is doing to Oklahoma as a state, because in these homes where domestic violence is occurring, it's also affecting those children. And then those children grow up in that abusive home, and it affects them, and it leads to criminal behavior. It leads to possibly them becoming domestic abusers. And there's also studies out there, many studies, that show the majority of individuals that commit violent attacks on police officers and that kill police officers have some type of domestic abuse in their background.
Chief, I can tell that this is a subject that you're passionate about, and you want to end domestic violence. Just speaking to you right now, can you share a message to families today who are watching this and might know someone, like you were talking about, you have a family member that has been separated from you, or you see the signs there in your household? What would your message be to them today in terms of, we're here to protect you, reach out to us?
Absolutely, and that's it. Just reach out. You don't even have to call 911. You can get the process started by calling any of these resources in your county, whether it be Palomar or any resource like that, the YWCA. You can remain anonymous. You can reach out to local law enforcement and remain anonymous. We will go out, check the welfare, and again, we're going to take that holistic approach. And we want to help that family. We want to do everything we can to not only bring an end to that violence cycle, but help them get on a path to a non-destructive lifestyle that leads to them being more productive, and again helps those children. Those children need to get in counseling and other things too. And so it's not just about arresting the offender, it's starting those services and getting those victims on a path to recovery.
All right, switching gears here. Last month, the district attorney, she announced the dropping of charges against 6 of your officers, all involved in deadly shootings in the city. What was your reaction to that announcement?
I've been asked that several times, and my reaction is the justice system. You have to have faith in it, and you have to follow those principles. And I believe the district attorney took some very meticulous steps in what she did. This was not a quick decision. She consulted with experts. They did a lot of research on their own and conducted their own investigation, as well as the investigation that we did. So I felt like it was very thorough, and as far as the decision, I can't really question it or say it's good, bad, indifferent, or whatever. It was the decision that the district attorney felt was the right thing to do based on the law.
Can you share an update on those officers? Have they returned to duty? And also, I know that there are some trainings that have been implemented in the department. Have they since taken those trainings?
So we're looking at, the last estimate I heard was a minimum of probably 2 months worth of training, and that's just an estimate. Mm-hmm. It could be longer, but there is what we call, anytime an officer is involved in a shooting and the criminal process is completed, we have what's called a return to duty protocol. So they're entering into that, but theirs is going to be a little bit longer because as part of that return to duty protocol, they have to get updated on all the training that they've missed for the last, I think it was like 18 months or so that it was almost 2 years, but so they have to catch up on all that training. So that's the process, and then they have to catch up on that training so they could be recertified by CLEAT because they're considered in a suspended status right now until they get all that training. So that's what we're doing now.
All right. So right now they're still suspended, paid leave. Is that correct to say?
I'm sorry, they are not suspended. Their CLEAT certifications are suspended until they complete their training, but they are on what's called restricted duty. Okay. So they're being paid, but they're restricted. They can't work normal patrol duties until they complete the training and the return to duty process that we have in place.
All right, Chief Gourley, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you coming on here. I know our viewers, they love to hear from you every month. So we have more information coming up on KOCO.com. Also, KOCO News at 4 o'clock. We'll have a full rundown with Chief Gourley here.